up your engine!
Bishivali says, do you think your Toyota Celica will appreciate? Well, it certainly has. I only paid $350 for it. It's got to appreciate from that, you know? I mean, yeah, a lot of people like them, you know. They're going to keep them up. But I'm actually kind of considering now, if I can talk Toyota into it, I'd love to get, if Toyota ever gets into this, a conversion to convert it to an electric car. I think that would be cool. There are companies out there now that are making conversion motor transmission assemblies for various cars. I've seen them for Hondas, that if somebody comes up with one and Toyota wants to turn my Celica into an electric Celica, I'm all ears. So Toyota, if you're listening, you want to do that, hey, contact me. I'd love to turn that thing into an electric car. It'd be kind of cool. And it wouldn't cost me anything because I'm cheap. The Dragon Report says, please read. My family's '08 Dodge Caravan's automatic tranny, 200,000 miles, has been slipping when it shifts for 8 years. Family can't afford a new car. How much longer we got? Any cheap fix? Well, it's been slipping for 8+ years. Just keep doing what you've been doing. If you want to try something, because it's an older one, drain out 1 quart of fluid and put 1 quart of that Lucas transmission anti-slip additive in. That's it. If it helps it, great. And then just baby it, because you're living on borrowed time. But you've been living on borrowed time for the last 8+ years. You said it's been slipping, so what the heck? Keep babying it. Hindawi says, Scotty, please, Porsche 944. What do you think? It was a failed design. They went with an Audi-type designed engine, 4-cylinder in the front. They were visibly underpowered vehicles. I had one customer who was dumb enough to buy one and thought it would be a collector's item. So he never drove it much, and it had like 20,000 miles on it. And now it's 30-something years old or so, and he tried selling it. Nobody wanted to buy the stupid thing. All the rubber bushings were rotten. The AC didn't work anymore. I had to put a starter in it. The starter was $800. They're rolling piles of junk. There were dismal failures on the market, too. They weren't fast enough. They weren't. At least the other Porsches had some speed. Those things weren't particularly fast. They just really weren't a real Porsche as far as I'm concerned. That's what Volkswagen, Porsche, Audi, Volkswagen bought them all, and then they started putting Audi technology in Porsches, and then their quality started going down. Elliot Posada says, Scotty, what's the biggest drawbacks to taking a car that's been sitting for a year plus? Well, I can tell you the numero uno problem. Why has it been sitting for a year? Most people park a car and it sits for a year or more because something's broken. And they don't want to fix it, so they let it sit. I have had so many people. They'll buy some old junker car that's sat in the field for years, and then they say, we want it fixed. And I'll say, do you know anything about this car? They say, no. And I say, look, odds are that thing was parked because something was broken. It didn't fix itself sitting there for years. And other things probably broke. So if at all possible, if you can find out why it was parked in the first place, and if they said, well, the engine or tranny went out and you don't want to fix that, don't buy the stupid thing. Now, if it does run, then you're going to have to go through probably changing the gas, the fuel filter, checking all the fluids, look for cracked rubber tires, cracked rubber hoses, leaking cylinders. Rubbers could go bad, but ultimately you want to think, if you're going to buy a car, why was it parked in the first place? And a lot of times it's because something big is wrong and you don't want to buy somebody else's problem. Unless you're looking for a particular car, maybe you got 2 of them and you want to make one car, classic car out of 2 and take all the parts off of one and put it on the other, then go right ahead. Sovereign Knight says, Scotty, any idea what's causing the cam lifter to fail in a 5.7 Hemi engine? Yeah, I can tell you right now, crappy manufacturing processes. I got one out here, a Charger with the Hemi 5.7, and it's failing right now. You can hear it clacking, but I took things apart and measured stuff. Turns out the cam's worn too. So you can't just replace the lifters, which in itself is a 7.2-hour job. Most mechanics charge $125 an hour. That times 7 is the labor plus the cost of the lifters. Do all their work, put it together, it'll probably still tick. Because I've seen people do that. I did that once. I'll never do it again. I tell people, you want to get rid of that noise, you got to replace the cam, too, because they wear out. Things wear out. Quality isn't that great on those things, and that's why they tick. Ron Dioso says, Scotty, what do you think of the Ford Focus 2010 Mark II traditional automatic, not a dual clutch? Okay, now, those aren't bad. You know, they sold most of those in other countries. Almost all the ones here had the stupid dual clutch that they had nothing but problems with. But if it's a traditional automatic, they can be okay cars. Realize the Focus is a pretty pretty bottom-end car. The Fiestas are lower and the Focus are a little bit above. The Fusions were much better vehicles, but those are kind of bottom-end cars. The quality's a little iffy, a lot of plastic crap that breaks. It's what, a 2010? That's a 10-year-old car with a lot of plastic. If you're going to buy one, don't pay much for it. They're not worth much. And do have a mechanic check it out first. If he says it's okay and it's cheap enough, could be an okay knockaround car. Mila Raider says, Scotty, thanks for doing this. I got an 01 Nissan Sentra 1.8. It's hard to start. It starts, it loses power and dies. I checked the gas pump and spark. They're okay. Okay, well, that thing's old as the hills. Of course, you want to tune it up. Put fuel filter, air filter, spark plugs. It is so old. The gas pump, I don't know how you checked it. Did you pressure test it? Pressure test it first. It could be it's just worn out and the pressure's too low. It's exactly what will happen. Pressure test it if you have it. If you have pressure tested and it passes, then try my video as a last ditch attempt. How to clean fuel injectors without removal. We mechanics have pressure machines. I charge $100 to do it to my customers' cars. Hook it up to the fuel rail, run it for an hour. And a lot of times, they'll clean the injectors and fix the problem. Now, it's so old, though. It's 19 years old. Sometimes, if you want to keep it, you got to bite the bullet, and you do have to buy new fuel injectors. They do wear out on Nissans over time. They don't last forever. Morris Hugo says, which tires are better, 15 or 16? Depends on what your car was designed for. Now, understand, of course, the smaller your tires are, the better acceleration you're going to have. There's less mass spinning, but the larger the tires, generally, the higher speed you can drive. But most cars are designed for a certain diameter, 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever. The computers are designed for that. The rear ends are designed for that. The transmissions are designed for it. The computer software is designed for it. So let's say you got 15-inch tires. You decide you're going to throw 16-inch rims on it with tires, it's going to mess up all kinds of stuff. Now, some cars, they're set up that you can have them reprogrammed. There are a lot of guys that are real pros. You could have to ask them and say, can I do this in my car? Can you reprogram? If they say, yeah, we can reprogram. You want to do it? Go ahead. It's still going to mess, though, with the suspension and how it rides in corners because your car was designed for one diameter tires. You change it, the car's going to sit differently. And they can reprogram certain things, but ultimately they can't change the geometry of the car. And you're going to be messing with the geometry to some extent then by putting bigger tires on it. Pedro Guzman says, Scotty, I'm going to be a college student soon. Need a cheap, reliable car. Any suggestions? Yeah, go on Craigslist. Look for some old Toyota Corollas or old Honda Civics. Those things can last forever. And they might look beat up. The paint might be faded. I got one in the driveway now. The paint's all faded off the roof, but it still runs like a clock with 225,000 miles on it. So the Corollas especially, they can run forever. And they sold 20, 30 million of them, so there's plenty of them out there. James Self says, Scotty, does Ford have a good vehicle besides Mustang? Well, they're not making any more cars. The Mustang's the only car that they're making. I think they might be making one other model. They said they were going to cut them down, but now they said they were going to continue to make something. I don't know if it was a Fusion, hybrid, plug-in electric, hybrid gasoline engine. I don't know. But they're not making that many cars, so you don't have much choice. They still make some decent trucks. The F-150s are still decent pickup trucks. That's where they make something like 90% of their profit is with the F-150 line of trucks. Gary Oak says, Scotty, got an 05 Nissan Sentra code P0455. Evaporative emission leak. How do I fix it? Well, change your gas cap and pray. If that's old or leaking or if it's missing, replace it. And if it goes away, fine. You solved it cheap. Past that, it gets to be a royal pain in the butt. It measures, the evap system measures if there's any leak from the gas tank all the way to the front of the engine. There's hoses. There's switches that turn on and off. There's the evap canister. There's the evap canister purge valve. You would have to check all that stuff, which you can't really check that well unless you have a bidirectional scan tool like I do as a professional mechanic. So pray it's a bad gas cap. Now realize most cars, when they get that code, they still run perfectly fine. So if it runs fine and it's not the gas cap, many people live with that stupid code. Doesn't hurt anything. Steve said, Scott, I got an 06 Cadillac CDS. The rear passenger door doesn't open even when it's unlocked. Any idea what could fix it? Yeah, get another car. Those are junky anyways. Now, you said it won't open even when it's unlocked. Are you sure you can't open it from either the outside or the inside? Generally, you can open it from one way or the other. And if you can, say the outside, open it up, and somebody might have flipped that child safety lock so that they can't open it from the inside. Simple fix. Now, if you can't open it either way, the only way you're going to get open is you're going to have to cut a hole in the inside of the door panel and get to where the latch is and pop it. Then when you pop it, you'll find out something's broken inside. Maybe the latch is broken. Maybe the rod that goes to the the door handle is falling off. They're metal rods with a 90-degree angle, and they pop into a plastic rivet. And sometimes the plastic rivets break and then they fall out. But you're going to have to get the door open if it won't open from the outside to the inside. And the only way you can do that is by cutting a hole in that panel and then getting to where the latch is and manually clicking it open and then seeing what's broken.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.